The family moved into the house 6 years ago, in October. The little girl, Lucy, and her brother Brendan were both excited, and Lucy had taken my old bedroom, and Brendan had taken the first of the 2 guest bedrooms. The mother and father got the biggest room, and this is where their story begins. Before I began my research, I talked to Brendan about anything unusual or strange that had happened to him. All he told me was that while he and his friend were in the forest near the home, his friend had seen a lady, wearing white, carrying the body of a scarred little girl. They followed the lady through the trees, but upon reaching the point where she disappeared, found nothing but a mound of leaves. They dug up the mound of leaves, and underneath the leaves was a yellow, old, and dirty apron, plus a pair of gloves. Upon asking him more about the ghostly figure, he said she glared at him and his friend and looked angry and mean. He refused to talk about anything else, so I moved on to his sister. Now the thing about Lucy is that she is a strange little girl. She is more quiet, more prim, and she has this look in her eyes that is far older than her age, and something about her always looks pale. What Lucy told me was there were 3 people in the house. A little girl, who always picked on her and was mean but was scared of Brendan, and her mom and dad, an old man, who she just shrugged about, and the nursing lady herself, who she said was plain evil. That was the end of my talk with Lucy and Bren, and then I recorded my thoughts on my second time in the house. Day 1. Now this is my experience so far in the house. When I walked in, I have no clue why, but I felt this immediate sense of foreboding, like someone was there watching me, welcoming me back. The day progressed uneventfully to my disappointment, and upon asking the family about the basement, they said they had locked the door and kept it shut for 5 years, and no one had been down there. They let me go down and investigate, however, and as soon as I entered the basement, I felt like I shouldn't be there. I searched through the mounds of trash, looking for the picture I saw many years prior, but saw nothing. I found the picture frame, but it was empty, which struck me as strange, considering the father swore no one had been down there in a while. I searched more, finding nothing really, except the old tea set and the picture frame. Now, this is when things start to get weird. As I was exiting the basement, a cold gust of wind blew against me, and that is impossible, considering there are no openings to the outdoors from the basement beside the door, which was firmly closed shut. I tried to follow where the gust of wind came from, and was greeted with nothing except wall. I leaned down, and guess what? The picture of the nursing lady lay on the floor, still in perfect condition, barely even yellowing. Instead of leaving the picture, I quickly picked it up and took it upstairs with me. And that night, I talked to the boy and girl, and the boy provided the long story of his experience before my part, but all the little girl told me was, "Be careful in the basement. Sometimes I hear the lady stomping in there." As I lay down in bed, I heard stomping outside my room, as if someone was mad. I dismissed it as the old creaks of the house. But then again, when was anything in this house not to do with paranormal activity? So I snuck out of bed and looked under the door crack and saw brown tweed shoes, pumps, looking extremely old and ugly, going back and forth. The ends of the white dress just barely reached the shoes. I gasped, and the noise made the shoes disappear rapidly as I jumped back into bed. I was right when I was a child. There was someone watching me from under the cracks of my door. My thought flashed to the old man who was normally seen sleeping in the very bed I was in, and I began to wonder if the reason the nursing lady was mad was because I had taken her patient's bed. I never knew. Day 2. The second day came of my visit. I would be staying 3 days and leave on the 4th morning, and upon speaking to Brendan, the son, he immediately directed me to his sister, who said I could sleep in her room that night. Brendan showed me the clearing where they had dug up the apron, but he had hid them someplace else when he was younger, and he had forgotten where. The night came, and as I lay in my old room and Lucy's current room, she fell asleep quickly, and so did I, but I woke up and felt something in the room. I didn't open my eyes, trying not to scare the person away, but opened them a slit, turning my eyes to the figure in the corner. A small figure with straggly hair was visible, and that is all that was visible about her. I felt fear strike me. This was the little kid Lucy was scared of. I closed my eyes and willed myself to sleep, trying to pretend there was no one there. Day 3. The final day came, and I told the family of what I knew, finally interviewing the mother and father. The mother gave me something she had found while scouting out the basement. It was the picture frame, except the frame was horribly disfigured now, as if someone had slammed it against the wall in anger. I felt fear grow in me, and that night, my final night in the house, I felt extremely happy. I had to get out of this house. These spirits were angry and confused, led by the nursing lady, and I could tell she was mad at me. She was raving mad at me. I went to sleep that night hoping for a quick sleep and no waking up in the middle of the night. Of course, that didn't happen. I woke up and saw the nursing lady in my room. She glared at me, her eyes pitch black, her teeth almost painfully white-looking. She bared her teeth, and I ducked under the covers, crying. I was terrified, and I willed myself to get to sleep, and the air was stuffy and warm under the covers, but I felt that if I popped my head out for fresh air, I would see the lady again. I stayed like that for a while and eventually fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I stood up and ran to the corner of my room where I saw the lady and saw on the floor her picture curled up like someone was holding it and made a fist. I felt pure relief course through me and left as quickly as possible. That ends my not-so-amazing experience with the house, thank God. In the end, I kept the picture with the house, knowing I would be eternally damned if I took it. My theory is that it was a hospital a long time ago, and that the ghost of the little girl was either a patient or one of the daughters of the old man. The nursing lady was a nurse, or perhaps a matron, perhaps for a children's hospital. The little girl, she seemed angry, but afraid of those older than her, hence picking on only Lucy. The old man? He was dormant, to be frank. In my opinion, he seemed lost and sad, not angry or anything. So to end this, the theory for this is that the little girl was a patient for consumption, and the little doll, Clara, belonged to her, and she buried the doll before her death. The nursing lady, I believe, buried the little girl in the clearing in the forest, and that is why Brendan and his friends spotted her carrying a little girl's body to the clearing, and that could also explain the apron and gloves buried under the undergrowth, because the nurse could be afraid the disease would be transmitted through the contact. The nursing lady seemed to be the main, scary one. She is definitely an evil, bitter force. The question is, why? Leave your theories in the comments, because my only question now is, why was the nursing lady so bitter and evil?